Joining us in studio, the voice of the Locust Fork Hornets, everything Locust Fork. The man will cover any sports you ask him to, whether it's ping pong or cricket. He has done it. The one and only Gregg Armstrong. Greg, how are you, buddy?
I don't know about cricket, but well, if we feel the need, we'll try to get it on the air for you.
So how has Gregg Armstrong's summer been going?
Fast and furious. When you have a kid that plays basketball for Barbara Roy at Locust Fork High School, then you are on the road all the time.
I bet.
It's always, and then Charlie, he keeps us busy, but it's been a busy time all around.
Does Charlie do any sports?
Oh, yeah, he's a basketball guy. Mainly, used to play a little baseball, but he likes basketball the best.
Well, last year, we'll talk about football first. I know last year, not the season really Coach Musso wanted, but as far as a record standpoint, but as I mentioned earlier with Adam, after losing 62-0 to Donniana, Locust Fork was one of the better teams in the county, almost beat Priceville one week, and in the season, I think, on a high note for them.
Well, I thought Locust Fork was they had some internal issues early, and it showed. They should have won the first game of the year, missed the extra point, and had a chance to win it, and that kind of got them off base. They had a chance to win 3 other games. If they lost, if they was in the game, you talked about Priceville. Priceville was undefeated, ranked number 2 in the state of Alabama, and they had them beat at their place, and just couldn't finish. Another situation where your kicking game hurt you a little bit. They also had a chance to beat DAR, who went on to be in the playoffs, and who was a good football team. And the only game that they didn't, had 2 games the whole year that they just didn't have a chance in or didn't play to the level that they played in other games. That was Oneonta and North Jackson. But the rest of the games came down the fourth quarter, and they was either ahead or right there close, and that was in 4A action. And they were a fairly young team because last year when the season ended at Hoax Bluff, the offensive starters, they got 10 out of 11 back. So they feel like they're going to be better this year. They go down to 3A, which would be huge for them. And they lost 20-plus seniors, though, the year before. When you think about that, and that's hard to overcome.
It is.
And so to go 5-5 and a chance to go 8-2 with a couple breaks here and there, you know, it's a rebuilding year. We knew it was going to be a rebuilding year, but they're looking for great things this year.
And like you talked about, they moved down to 3A, going to the region with J.B. Pennington and Susan Moore. That's got to be exciting. We talked about that being in the county. There's going to be some big matchups, not just with bragging rights on the line, but with maybe playoff berths on the line during the year playing those county schools. But they got to feel a lot better about this year, especially like you said, returning so many. And really expectations, I'm sure, are playoffs.
Well, they feel like they've got a chance to compete for the championship of the area if they play well. They feel like that everybody that they play they played Pennington last year and beat Pennington. So they know. I feel like Pennington's going to be a team that's going to be very much improved this year. But they feel like they got a chance to compete. They got to play Susan Moore and Pennington out of the county, and also Cleveland, which is always a big rival for them. Fultondale will be pretty good. You never know what you're going to get with Fultondale. They feel like they'll have a good team. Also, you'll have Holly Pond. I know Holly Pond's been a doormat for a while, but I'm telling you, you remember they're going to be better this year because they got a lot of kids back, and they got the coach at Coach J.J. McCarry and that bunch when they were down there, and he's there, so he'll have them rolling. So I feel like they'll be much improved, and Hansville's always competitive. And so it won't be an easy region, but I do think that when you compare 4A to 3A, you're going to be playing on a level where you got the same amount of kids that they've got, and it ought to be competitive, and they feel like it'll be a disappointment if they don't make the playoffs.
Talk about the spring game. I know Locust Fork went up against my alma mater, Asheville, and who else did they play in that spring game?
Well, they played 5A Fairview, and that's
a team y'all face week 11, week 10 of the season this year too, right?
Not Fairview.
Not Fairview?
No, Fairview.
I'm looking at it.
Fairview is a 5A school, and they got a pretty good team. Had success lately. But we were able to, I think they ended up being a tie. They play that thing where you got B teams and all that. But when the varsity played, I think they ended up tying or winning by a touchdown. They beat Asheville by a touchdown or so. Asheville's going to be much improved. I really believe that.
Go
they
Bulldogs.
got a great looking team. When they walk out on the field, I mean, you're thinking, "Gosh, what happened to Asheville?" You know, it just looks so impressive. But they're going to be much improved. But they look pretty good I thought in the spring, a little bit better in some areas than I thought they would. They feel like they've secured a kicker. If you was at the media day, Coach Musso said that Jose Hernandez had been kicking 50-plus field goals. I haven't seen that personally.
That's something you want to have on the sideline, just in your back pocket.
I do know that he kicked it in the end zone in the spring game, which was an improvement.
That's pretty good.
That was a big debacle for the Hornets, and if you listen to my broadcast, I made that clear several times. But they struggled, and they had somebody injured, and they didn't, and it's having to use people that wasn't used to having to kick. And it was kind of funny that they started the season by losing on a blocked extra point, and they ended the season with a win because they blocked an extra point. So that comes full circle.
Ask Coach Gillen at Cleveland how important the kicker is.
Oh, yeah.
He's very important.
It really is.
Well, you take that for granted in high school, but if you've got a good kicker, I mean, it makes a difference, a big difference.
Coach Musso is going to his 4th year this year, and I know everyone at Locust Fork is excited about what he's doing with the program and the way it's headed. Talk about, in this offseason, I've seen some stories, and I know some other people have, about some of the community service and things that the Hornets have been doing with Coach Musso at the helm.
Well, Chris, as most people know, he went to Locust Fork. He played football at Locust Fork. He coached under Coach Downs when he was there. Then he went and left and took the head job at John Carroll. And I thought that was good for him. He wanted the job at Locust Fork, but they didn't give it to him. He was young and all. I thought it was good for him to get away and come back. And when he came back, I was very impressed with his maturity. He is very faith-oriented as a coach. He lives it. Yeah. And he really does a lot of good things with our kids. And this summer, it's something that they've always kind of done, but they're doing a little bit on a different level this year. We have several ladies in our community at Locust Fork that are with us and all. He takes his football team every week. They do a community project, whatever those folks need. If they need lawn care, if they need cleaning their roof, gutters out, whatever, they work out at 6 o'clock in the morning and leave there and go do a service project, and every one of them participate. And I saw the local media had covered that on 42 Sports, and it was really moving when I watched that because I saw the lady, I knew the lady, and it was moving to them. And I think that he's trying to teach those kids there's a whole lot more to life than just football, and they need to be, when you think about a widow, that somebody that don't have someone around the house to help and do, and to have those football guys come in and do that, I thought that was a great learning experience for those kids, and they absolutely eat it up. Because I want to tell you something, those little ladies get up to them, hug them, and thank them. That means a lot to those kids.
Fantastic story. I've seen that. It's awesome.
But that's one of the things that separated him to me from other coaches we've had is he expects our kids to work out at 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 days a week, and there's no excuses. You got to be there. If you're not there, you get so many times that you get to miss, and that's not very many. And if you miss those kind, then you're off the team. When he first came to Locust Fork, he told me he was going to do that. I can still remember the conversation with my wife. I said, Angie, on the way home, I said, I don't know that we're going to have football. And she said, what do you mean we're not going to have football team? I said, well, Coach Musso said I asked him about his workout program. He said it's going to be at 6 o'clock in the morning. If he didn't show up, they wasn't going to be on team. And I said, we haven't been having a football workout program at 6 o'clock in the morning. But I tell you what, those kids bought in. And when you go up there, that place is full of folks. They have a truck they have to push. They have garbage cans set up for dumping stations because most of the time they're throwing up about halfway through it. They've got big old tires that they're flipping and all. He puts them through it. It's not you just go up there and pat them on the back and take off. Yeah. He really works them. And I think this year will be the first team that has been through his program since the 9th grade. Mm-hmm. And I think you'll see a difference. You got a lot of kids coming back, and it's a different team in that they are closer. These community service projects, they hang out together. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, one of the coaches told me, he said, this is a group, we have to run them off. Yeah. They hang around. We're getting ready to lock up after we've been there all morning, and they want to hang out. And they got a good camaraderie with each other. And I feel like that's going to pay off dividends.
Absolutely. That's what you want to see in your team.
And they've got to the point that The workout has become, they are obsessed with it. I'll tell this story. My daughter dates one of the football players. And I remember this kid. I didn't remember him too much. You know, I'm not real fond of my daughter dating.
Do you approve?
Well, he's all right. But I'm not real fired up about the.
Do you have a gun?
Yes, I have one. And
good.
I might need it. I'll tell that story in a minute. But I was sitting in my chair, and all of a sudden, he comes. I wasn't going to get up. I wasn't all that fired up about this. You know, well, he comes up, grabs my hand, shakes my hand. And I remember this kid as a little chubby kid. I wasn't expecting this, and when he walked in there and shook my hand, his hand's bigger than mine, and Mr. Armstrong, how you doing, blah, 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 and I looked up at him, and he is absolutely ripped, 6'4". He ain't no little pudgy guy anymore, and I told my daughter when he left, I said, honey, you don't need to be dating people I can't whoop. I'll have to get my pistol out to protect myself from him, but anyway, I just seen a difference, and they not only work out now. When coaches got them, they're all members of gyms, half of them, and they continue to work out. I think that, and most of those kids are younger, and they've been in the program since the ninth grade. I think it'd be a big difference.
Right.
Talk about key players this year for Locust Fork as far as starters and for offense and defense.
Well, I think that Locust Fork is like everybody in this county. As long as nobody gets hurt, they're gonna be okay. If they get some key people hurt, just like anywhere, Cleveland, anywhere I've talked to most of the coaches, they'll be in trouble. But the ones that I see that's going to make and break us, the quarterback, Chase Rice, this will be his second year to start. He's as fast as anybody in the county. He's very strong, one of the strongest kids on our football team. You don't have many quarterbacks that play quarterback and linebacker.
Yeah.
And he's one of those kids. He's a tough kid. He works every day, laying block and concrete work, so he's a tough kid, knows that. I would think will really improve us because he's going to be hard for people to tackle. And he's quick. So I think he's going to be important to us. He'll be a very key player. I think another person that's very key to us is Drew Rogers. He's a fullback. He's also a linebacker. And he rushed, I think, last year for probably over 1,000 yards. And I think that he'll be critical. And he'll be on both sides of the ball. Locust Fork's going to play a lot of kids both ways. I think another person that clogs the middle up on defense is Austin Glasscock, and he's a senior, one of the seniors that they won't have 7, I think, or 8 seniors. So he's going to be very crucial to Locust Fork. I think Elliot Dodson be a lineman that'll be pretty good. It's going to be tough for folks to handle. Drew Rogers, as I said, will be tough, but also one of the kids that's going to make a difference besides the kicker, Jose Hernandez, is Daniel Goss, who played basketball. Yep. He hadn't played football, but they're looking for big things of him as a receiver.
Well, Locust Fork ended the season on a high note. All seasons look like went pretty well. Coming back, I want to ask you a question about Twitter with Coach Musso. We talked about Lane Kiffin using Twitter. Somebody else that uses Twitter a lot is Chris Musso, and he's constantly on Twitter. And I think it's a good social media tool, would you not agree, that gets the word out about what his team is doing as far as helping people out. He's done pretty well with it, wouldn't you say?
Well, he certainly likes to tweet, and he understands where kids are today. If you're not technical, you're not going to reach these kids. So he even evaluates their Twitter accounts, and he also he set up you go to locustforkfootball.com, I think it is. They have a website. He has a Facebook site. They have a remind me thing, a text message that goes up to every player, everybody with the program, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a big time deal for him to use social media, and I think it does. And I wanted to say something about football. We had a kid from Locust Fork that got to be in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And he made the first tackle of the game, and he sacked the quarterback before they had the short delay with the lightning, or I guess they postponed it. But Chase Biles, and then Kimberly Horton was also in the I guess you could say in the girls basketball. She played for the North. So you had 2, and you also had Khalil Johnson. I think that's the only 3 that Blount County had.
I think so.
So that was great for the county to have 3 kids in the All-Star game. But no, Chris Musso knows how to tweet. There's no doubt about it.
You got to these days. Greg, moving on, you just mentioned basketball. Touch on boys basketball first as we recap some of the sports from Blount County last year. And good representation in most sports last year from everybody. But the boys basketball program, they have a new guy at the helm. It's Brandon Smith moves on to Hayden to be the assistant principal. Talk about the boys' new coach and what they've got coming back this upcoming year.
Well, Brandon did a great job. When you think about the years he won, he three-peated as county champions. He played for the county championship this year, and I really didn't think he'd get there this year. And he was within a few minutes. He led in the fourth quarter and had a chance to win the game. He did a great job for Locust Fork. But we have, since that time, he's moved on, got a better, I guess you could say, a step up as assistant principal at over at Hayden, and he has moved on. So Locust Fork has started, I got him a new coach at I guess you could say he's got a different name, Wiley Edwards. He comes to Locust Fork from Northridge, a big 6A school in Tuscaloosa, and he is a very quality individual, and our kids have really fallen in love with him. I was interested to see how, you had a guy as long as Coach Smith was there, how they would react, but they seem to have welcomed him with open arms. He is doing a great job. He didn't really get to come in. He came in and carried them to Ole Miss, but he only had like a day or two practice with them, and they struggled over there. But after he had them a few weeks, they went back to Alabama, and they swept everybody that played, which was some bigger schools too. So I was really pleased with that. They got a lot of people back. The main shooters are all back. They lost some key kids, but he's doing a great job. They're working hard, and they do the same thing as Coach Musso. They have those community projects that they do as well, and he's really come into our community, and everybody loves Wiley Edwards, and he's doing a great job.
Great. Girls made it to the Final Four, ended up losing to Sipsey Valley in a heartbreaking loss, but that's a team that no need to put your head down. They were a great team all year long and won the county championship. But what a way to make it that far. Not many teams in the county get to do that.
Well, no, and really they were 1 point and one shot away, or one free throw or whatever away from playing for a state championship and 4A, and that has been huge for Locust Fork. And they've made to the Final Four 3 times as a team, but they've never got to overcome that, I guess, that hurdle of getting to the finals and hopefully winning. But I do know this, that this year they moved down to 3A. And they feel like they've got a chance. I've been with them on they've not lost a game all summer and all their games. They played Coleman, and Coleman's a 6A school, and they had to cut the scoreboard off because it was a big difference in it. And at the team camps, they played Jacksonville, who won the state championship, played for it a few years. They played a lot of teams, good teams, and they haven't really had a really close game. So they've worked very hard this summer. They got everybody back that started but one. And they're probably deeper and probably a little bit better, I think, than they were last year. I think that they have a legitimate shot if they can stay healthy. And, you got to have some breaks. But they'll be a contender in it. There's no doubt.
And your daughter on the team, right?
Well, she's on the team, but I don't know if she'll be a starter. but they after this year, she probably will. But she's enjoying it, and she's putting a lot of time in it. And she told me the other day, she said, "Daddy, I'll be glad when we go back to school. Maybe we can quit practicing basketball." But she loves it, and I'm thankful that we got somebody like Barbara. Barbara does a great job.
Yeah.
Hannah had her wisdom teeth pulled, and that day Barbara had them all to do their summer reading. They had to turn it into her, and if they didn't have it done, they got disciplined on the basketball floor. And she's more than a basketball coach. If they don't do the grade, if they don't do the thing, she's just a great person. And she instills a lot of that same thing. And she's from Locust Fork. She played in the Final Four when she played there. And she loves Locust Fork, and she is all in. They're fixing to go on a trip to Camp Cosby just to do team building. So there's no time for your family if you got a basketball player. You all basketball.
Baseball, softball. I know with baseball they had a new head coach this past year.
Had a lady.
A lady, yeah.
Miss Rita Truetail won the county championship.
Exactly.
Kind of crazy, but Rita's a great girl and lady, and we love Rita. But she's just kind of stepped in a tough situation where we had a coach that couldn't coach in the middle of the year, and she did a great job. But we have a new coach, Coach Edwards, who's come to us from Pinson Valley. He's a great coach, and man, I'm telling you, he's a worker. I've seen him at the field and doing a lot of things. They should be competitive this year. I don't know how well we'll be in baseball, but they feel like they're going to have a chance, and he'll work hard at it. Softball, we picked up a player who transferred in from Hayden, which is a super-duper pitcher, Corinna Dodd.
Yeah.
And that's really all Locust Fork's been lacking. And you know what Cleveland done with 2 transfers from Hayden? Well, they made all the way to Montgomery.
That's right.
With just a pitcher and a catcher. And she'll make a huge difference. And I look for Locust Fork to be very competitive in softball. And our volleyball team's been working very hard. And I think they'll have a pretty good year. And so it looks like a lot of good things happening at Locust Fork.
I know we're fixing to have a break here in just a few minutes, but Greg, how many job titles do you hold? Do you sleep? Because you're the revenue commissioner, you're the voice of the Hornets, you're very active in your church. Mm-hmm. I see you around town all the time doing stuff. You're here at the radio station.
So you tweet.
Do you find time to sleep?
Nah, not much. I don't. I always try to stay up so I can watch all the news before I go to bed. But I enjoyed Blount County, and we're fortunate in Blount County that we got a lot of good schools. Oneonta City and all the county schools, we got a lot of great people. And I love this is when I do the voice of the Hornets, that's not work, that's fun. I can't believe Robbie lets me do it, but I just love it. I'm the minister of music at Locust Fork Baptist Church and been there for 30 years. And I'm also do the radio, and I do the revenue, and then I do the Booster Club, so I keep it pretty active. My wife reminds me of that quite often. But I am going to say this. I'm going to give up some stuff. I don't know what all that's going to be for long, but we're going to give up some of this stuff because you can get too busy.
Yeah.
You get spread a little thin.
College football kicks off about a month now. You're an Alabama fan.
Definitely.
What do you expect from Alabama this year?
A national championship.
Nothing less.
Nothing
right?
less. If you're an Alabama fan, if you expected anything else, you're not part of the process. But can I give a great big announcement since the head man's in here? Something y'all don't even know is going to be taking
Sure,
place.
that's fine with me.
There is something that's going to take place on Thursday night, August the 18th.
All right.
It is going to be the Kickoff Classic in Blount County.
There you go.
The game between Appalachian and Southeastern has been moved to Thursday night. Okay? And we're going to make it big. It's the 2 smallest schools in the county, and it's going to be a huge deal. We're going to have a big tailgate show beforehand. Fireworks. Robbie's going to provide fireworks.
Right.
I don't know about that.
Gosh.
But it's going to be a big deal. They're going to have former coach Mr. Carr and former principals are going to be there. Going to have the cheerleaders and try to make it a big deal. We're trying to come up with a name for that game. I don't know if it's the
Gregg Armstrong special.
No, I don't know if it's going to be the Mountain Valley Rumble or whatever. But there's going to be something going on, and there may be going to be a trophy that both those teams can keep every year, that
Great.
to kind of make that rivalry, and they get their name and the score put on it every year, and whoever wins it gets it for a year and then brings it back. But they're going. Both coaches and principals want to make that a big deal, and they get left behind a little bit. And they're great schools. I went to Southeastern, love that community. Appalachian is one of the best communities that are around, and to be able to show the 2 smallest schools in the county, make a big deal for those kids. That's what Robbie's done. What he does because he loves kids and all this radio stuff. And I think it's a great thing. But
Absolutely.
Be looking for that. We'll have the Kickoff Classic.
I'm willing to bet you guys lunch by the end of the day he'll have a name for this thing.
Well, I've been looking
Because he's the greatest marketing mind of our time. He'll have a name before this day is over
Robbie
with. I
he
promise
came
you.
up with a Kickoff Classic. Come on up here, Big Day.
Hold on, stand by.
Do you know how to operate the board?
Yeah,
Am I
I
on?
do. Yeah, you're good.
I just got off the phone with Coca-Cola. They paid us $3 million.
Told you.
And it's now the Coca-Cola Kickoff Classic. No, I'm just kidding. Just the Kickoff Classic. But I don't know.
It's great.
Yeah, it'll be a good exposure for both those schools. I'm going to get out of here. But before we do, I want to present you with your WCRL sports caps for the year and the team colors. And Cleveland, That's your colors, right?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Some of these
Got it
colors
right.
are really close, but those are the visors, and we got pullovers and stuff coming. And just so for any of the listeners who may be watching on TV, we're going to have these visors, lots of them made. And we'll be giving those out, in the appropriate team colors throughout the year. So have some prizes to give away here on this this show. That
We may do a giveaway next hour.
Well, I'm not giving mine away.
No, we are.
Okay.
you can give away a shirt with the logo. We got some shirt with the what's the name of the show? The Playbook.
Playbook,
With
yeah.
the Playbook's logo on it. So you can definitely give those away.
All right.
As long as it's under a $50 minimum prize value,
Okay.
you know what I mean? I'm
We're
good
good.
with paying for that.
All right, Greg, we appreciate it so much, and good luck
Thank
to the
you.
Hornets. We'll have you on next week. How about that?
I'll be the always known as the first guest you ever had live in studio.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
Write it down.
That's right.
I know.